Hello beautiful people and welcome to my race commentary for the Evesham 10k. Last weekend I took a trip out west to see my friends Alex and Nell and Pepper at the front here, and also to get a little bit of racing done while we're at it. The week before I had been having a little bit of a boogie at Glastonbury, so expectations had to be slightly measured, but I still had probably an A++ goal of a PB, unlikely as it might be, which is a 38 and 5 seconds. A B goal of around 39 minutes, and a C goal of breaking 40 again after the disgrace that was Seaford 10k, where D Mills annihilated me. The course has a few hills, 3 hills roughly, about 15 metres each, so nothing silly, but I am a road flat track warrior. And as we get into the race, you will see that my GPS didn't have a Scooby-Doo what was going on, which proved to be slightly tricky. But let's get to the action.
3, 2, 1.
A bleak and overcast special here from the UK weather gods, but that's absolutely okay with me. I will take that any day of the week over sunshine and temperatures in the mid-20s. I'd positioned myself nice and high up, and there were lovely little signs for roughly the time you wanted to finish, which is brilliant, thank you Evesham. So I'd plonked myself ahead of the 40-minute pacer and just behind the club runner Vest Brigade Massive, and I was a happy boy to move off the grass onto the asphalt and start trying to hone in on my goal speed, which was probably around 350. I wanted to aim for 350 per kilometre and see how that felt at about halfway, knowing that the hill is coming up pretty quickly, so this first kilometre is going to be interrupted very soon by the hill. And I didn't mind at all if runners were going to come past me at this point. I just wanted to make sure that once I got over the first hill, my heart rate didn't spike anywhere near my threshold, really. Didn't want to blow the whole race very early. Here she is as we turn left at about 350 metres.
Phil. Somebody told me it was flat. That's it.
This young lad behind me hadn't done his research.
If we go up, there'll be a down.
If you don't score, you don't win. So about halfway through this first hill, I'm just behind these two vesties here, and I think this is a pretty good position to be. They're not getting away from me, and they look like there's some people that can probably handle some hills, so I'm not feeling too bad. 162 heart rate.
More up.
The banter's flowing behind me, and I can see the end of the hill off in the distance in the town centre. You turn left up a slight little extra crest, and then it's back down on lovely road. Through that left turn, and you can see on the camera it's a little bit more uphill, but it's not any more than a few hundred metres to go before we can enjoy the beauty that is running on a beautiful road that's cut off from traffic. And we have made it. That first obstacle is out the way. Heart rate 166, so it didn't spike anywhere near my threshold, and we can now enjoy a few kilometres of gentle downhill. It nearly always takes me a few hundred metres once I reach the crest of a hill to just get my breath back a little bit, even though my heart rate hadn't spiked that much really. So my bestie vesties have got away a little bit, but it's fully in my mind that I'm going to get back on their heels as soon as I can, as we hit 1 kilometre in 3 minutes and 54 seconds. Quickly skipping to the second kilometre, and I put a 3:49 in, very much enjoying that road downhill section. We'd come onto some pavement now, so not quite as lovely, but relatively flat here, and I was keeping those boys ahead honest. I was in a lovely little group really, moving along in the low 350s. Guy on the orange top looks like he's overcooked it and lets us through. But yeah, there's at least 5 of us here. I think there's a couple more on my heels. I was approaching 172, 173 heart rate, so this was really the pace I didn't want to go any quicker than. So I was happy that the boys around were liking to go at the pace that I wanted to. But at 2.4k, I had to make my first big decision, really. It looked like the bestie vesties were starting to make a little bit of a push for it, or I was just starting to struggle at that low 350 pace. You can see that the GPS is starting to struggle, and we'll get more into that in a minute. But I was trying to decide whether I wanted to push on past this guy just ahead of me in the white top, a slight little cheeky hill here, or if it was a wiser decision to just sit behind him for now. And as I made my way back down this mini hill, I did decide to move on past him and seek out the runners ahead. That pacing on offer from them was just a little bit too juicy to just completely ignore. They were just there, and it should be easier if I can get to them. There's a decent little downhill here. See if I can use it to get back on their heels.
Thank you.
But as you can probably tell, they'd made even more of a push down here than I had. I was getting into the 340s again, and I didn't want to push it in the 330s to get there, and now it had flattened out. There was no way I was making more of a surge to get there. Our little pack of dreams had broken. I'm not miles behind them, but it looks like I'm going to have to pace myself from now on. And the initial pacing by myself wasn't going brilliantly, as I'm overtaken very quickly by another two runners. And there's the 3 kilometre sign, 3:53. I'm not too disappointed with that. That's still a good time for me in a 10k at this point, with my heart rate only 172. I was keeping it just below that threshold. And I was also encouraged that my watch was short, 2.96. I'd actually hit 3 kilometres, so I was actually going a little bit quicker than my watch knew about, or so I thought. This is now where things get a little bit interesting.
My watch is about 250 metres off.
As I hit 4 kilometres according to the course markers, my watch is only at 3.76 kilometres. So the kilometre according to my watch, once I get there in 170 metres or so, is a 4-minute one. But if I'd actually gone through 4 kilometres when that board said it was, which it should be, I was actually going considerably quicker than what it was saying at the moment. But I wasn't 100% sure, because usually my GPS isn't too bad overall. But as you can see, it's blinking in and out of getting signal here, which I couldn't see at the time. On my watch at the moment, I could just see I was averaging about 4 flat to 410. So I was thinking, well, I'm really dropping the pace here, but actually I'm 250 metres ahead of where the watch knows I am. So what pace is that? I don't know. Maybe it's still 350, 355. It was just getting very tough to judge what I was doing now. Luckily, I think what really helped me at this point in the race was the threshold training I'd done recently. You could see my heart rate had gone to 176 before, but I've brought it back down to 174, and this is pretty much my threshold. And I was just purely going on feel. I knew that if I kept at this effort, that I could continue for the rest of the race. Hopefully, a couple of hills might throw a little bit of a spanner in the works to that, but I should be able to keep this pace. I just had no idea really what that pace would be. It would be anywhere between 350 and 410 really, because it's quite difficult for me to gauge that difference once I'm tired. And here we are, about to turn right up the second hill. I've managed to close a little bit on Blue Top here, and my main focus was to try and make sure he didn't put too much distance on me up this hill.
A lovely hill.
And I'm having a great time, ladies and gents. I'm out the trees, and it appears like the GPSs have moved to Mars, because my watch still hasn't got a clue what's going on. I am going 420 pace up this hill, though. Not too shabby. And it does look like the pack ahead I'm slightly closing on. That is the very telling look behind I'm a bit fucked look from J Mills, though.
Oh, that fucked me.
I knew it. But when I am getting signal, my heart rate's only 176. I truly believe that without all the recent threshold stuff, this would have spiked well into the 180s at this point. And then once I got down the other side, it would have screwed me for a lot longer than it did. And it has finally started to flatten out here. It did still take me a few hundred meters to gain my breath back before I could push on again. The heart rate now is starting to drop more towards 173 again, so that hill had not killed me, and I now start to move on just behind Blue Top.
Thank you.
Turning left here, and we've got a kilometre or so of mainly flat before we head back down, and hopefully we can make some time up in that downhill section.
Still way off.
And at 5 kilometres, we're still 170 metres off on the watch. According to the watch at 5k, I hit it in 4 minutes 9 seconds. Getting closer to reality, but we're just going to have to wait and see for the end of the race to see what actually I've been putting in. Blue Top and I are now enjoying this nice road section, slightly gently downhill at the moment, and according to the watch, when it comes in, we do pick the pace up in the low 350s, which is quite lovely. I obviously know that can't really be trusted, but when you do look down and you see your pace picking up, 349, it does give you a little bit of a boost, especially when you've not really increased the effort by much. Are we actually going at 345? Whatever we were going at, towards the end of this 6 kilometre, I was starting to think about having a little move on Blue Top, and I very shortly did regret not going for it. 6 kilometres here, and okay, it's coming a little bit more in line. 5.92, that's probably the GPS starting to right itself by saying I'm going quicker than I actually was. I probably wasn't doing mid-340s back there. It's probably more like mid-350s. But according to Strava, it was only a 358, so who really knows? But I really was thinking about trying to make a move, but he was just increasing the speed ever so slightly every time I tried to just ease past him, and I didn't really want to put a surge in, as I was still slightly worried we were about to drop a cheeky 35 something. Very slightly. Have I managed to take him here round the outside of this left-hander, or is he still there on the inside of me? Oh, he's still there. The cheeky rascal is making me work for this.
Thank you.
Right, what is this left-hand turn? Oh, we're off-road on some trail path. Okay. It's not too bad and muddy here at the moment. Oh, this bit doesn't look so good. Mud. This is the downhill bit as well. Yeah, I'm slip and sliding here, and he's getting away ahead. I wanted to abuse the downhill section and really gain some time, but it's my worst nightmare. Muddy trail path, ankles wobbling all over the shot, and at least we're out of that, but we're onto some bloody grass now. Hopefully this is over soon.
Come on, let's go! Let's go! 3K to go! Only 3K to go! Water station ahead! Let's get the man in front of you! Come on!
Thank you, mate.
Right in front of you!
Oh, I'm trying, Sergeant 10K, but you're making me run on traily, muddy rubbish again. Bring back the road. Thank you. After negotiating a few puddles. Oh, that feels so damn good. And I considered getting some water here, but I wasn't hot at all. And usually when I try and drink, I almost throw it back up. So decided against it. And I can see the guy in the yellow top ahead. He's actually had a little walk at the water station. Oh, and it's our friend White Top's moved on through. Blue Top getting away from us as well, and breathing's getting a little bit laboured, not feeling too wonderful. And you can see the GPS still has no idea what's going on, just completely blinking in and out still. And, I mean, I run around Bushy Park that's got hills, and it's not this bad, so... Oh, what is that? What the hell is that? Why am I going back onto some... Oh, I love running. Okay, it wasn't hundreds and hundreds of metres of muddy horribleness. We're back on the grass, which I still despise, but it's well-cut grass overall, at least compared to bloody Eastbourne Park Run. And good evening. Is that the 7K sign up there? As on my watch, I'm approaching 7K. Very interesting. So what is the split? A 4:01, which is slightly irritating. I've not got in the threes, considering overall it was 12 metres downhill. And I'm still slightly dubious that it's just pot luck that the sign and my GPS is on at this point. But all I could do was continue to work hard to keep Blue Top and White Top in my sights. Unfortunately, I missed it, but White Top made his move past Blue Top, and I decided to work really hard to try and go with him. And you can see, according to the watch, we're back in the 340s here. We're catching yellow and blue stripes up there. A little bit tricky here as we're coming against some of the... What? And look at that, 8 kilometres, 7.66. What is going on? If I've actually only got 2 kilometres to go here, I'm on for a very good time, maybe like a mid-38. But if it is right with my watch on 7.66, which honestly, it wasn't blinking in and out because I'd average pace on when I was out there, so I didn't know how poorly it was overall doing. If I was actually on 7.66 like my watch said, maybe I was only on for like a low 39 here, because most of the time all I could see on my watch was 4 flat pace. So 2 kilometres to go, time to just push like hell and hope that finish line comes as soon as possible. Halfway through this 9th kilometre, and you can hear there I am pushing a lot more now. The heart rate's lifted into the high 170s, but White Top has cleared off. I'm still at about a similar distance to Stripey Top ahead, but White Top has put in a very good surge, and I can see some of the people finishing on the left, so maybe it is very soon. Maybe I just turn left, come round this park, and it's going to be the finish, and I'm going to drop a PB out of nowhere and start twerking. The incredibly tame thank you is a surefire sign that I am feeling it right now, but it could only be currently under a kilometre to go, so I am going to push as hard as I can.
Thank you. Oh.
That is the gasp of a young man who'd forgotten about the final hill.
Still 150 off. I do hope that is a kilometre to the end.
Yep, it appears like it's righted itself a little bit. It's only 150 metres off. I was not a happy boy at how steep this bastard looked. The 9th kilometre, according to Strava, was a 4th flat. We are almost there. Come on, the J Mills. And there's that 180 heart rate that I didn't want to get to in the first hill, but this is the final hill, so I'm pushing as much as I physically can. And as I crested the top of the hill, we were back on the road from earlier, coming back down, and it was time to see what, if anything, we had left. I'm straight on the hills of Stripey, moving out into the road, and I was actually not sure if I was meant to be running on the road, but I take him anyway, and we move into the 340s very quickly. GPS currently isn't blinking in and out. 330s, 1.7 heart rate, so it's come down from what it was up the hill, and I was actually feeling pretty good at this point, knowing that I could push pretty hard for this final, who knows if it's going to be 400 metres or 700 metres, and I had my sights fully set on White Top ahead that I'd been in a bit of a ding-dong battle with for most of this race. He'd got me at the start, I'd taken him in the middle, and then he got me at, again, about 6-7 kilometres, but who was going to come out victorious at the end? We flash past in a second, 300 metres to go, so it should finish at 9.9k now. The GPS should hopefully not blink in and out now. We're going along at 320 per kilometre, quite a tight turn down here, and quite a steep bit as well, so I take a nice racing line through, using all of the road on the exit. Unbelievable driving from J Mills. Have we got another gear to go to get White Top ahead? We move into the 310s. We're still catching him. We're about to turn right, head onto the grass. You can hear a young kid screaming his name. He's not going to want to be beaten by us. 3 minutes and 9 seconds per kilometre. We are pushing so hard. 100 metres to go. You can see the sign on the inside. That kid running along with him and I'm going to have to go around the outside. He's held the inside line well, and now I kick. I'm pushing hard. I'm not getting away from him, though. He's right on my right. I'm 250 per kilometre, and I'm like, have I got any more than this? I'm going to have to go to a different gear. 220, he's still there. I just pull ahead, and I've just got the W. Whoa, that was hard. And I finish in 22nd place with a 39 and 13 seconds chip time. Actually exactly the same chip time as Charlie. He just started a little bit further behind. You definitely pushed me along, and I don't think I would have got within 10 seconds of that time if you weren't there. So thanks for pushing me. So overall, I'm pretty happy with that. Very close to my B goal of around a 39 flat, and considering I really wasn't sure the pace I was going at for such a long time in that race, I averaged 355 per kilometre, which isn't too shabby on a little bit of a hilly course with some mud and trail path thrown in for good measure. It was a really good day out. Well done to my mate Alex for getting a 44.20, smashing his 10k PB by about 4 minutes, and Nell for almost going sub 60, but she was only there for the vibes, so it doesn't matter. I will see you guys soon for D Mills doing a relay race in Eastbourne. It's going to be awesome.